Hello guys, today I have gathered 30 tips for Visual Studio 2019 community version. Now you can keep track and see how many you knew already, and if you come up with any new ones, then please let me know in the comments. I would love to know and learn stuff myself as well. But let's get to the facts. I will try to explain them as fast as I can. I noticed in the previous videos I wasn't as fast as I could have been, and I tend to be a little slow when I explain stuff, so I will try to improve in that way. Now the first one is Add a New File by Mads Kristensen. So it says that it's the fastest and easiest way to add a new file to any project, and so the old version was to click the project and then add new item and selecting the interface, right? And then add. It's not too bad, but we can do it a little bit faster. So now that we have the extension, I can press Shift F2 and just start writing here. Now, because I added the C# file extension and two capital letters, it will know that it's an interface and add the interface keyword there as well. Now, if I want to add a folder, I could do that by adding a backslash. If I also wanted to add another folder, I could do it just here, and under this folder I actually wanted to add a HTML file, and I wanted to add also like a GS file and this package.json file. I could do that all in here. So we added a folder, and then under this folder we have an HTML file, and it had a default HTML template and also this JS file and this package.json file, which also was one of the templates that was built around this name. So in order to use this template, you need to have a full name for the file. So it's package.json. The next tip is Intellicode. So you may already have Intellicode. You can go to extensions and install and check if you have it. The reason why I suspect you might have it is because a lot of these workloads have it already. If we look at the Azure development, it has Intellicode. If we look at ASP.NET, it has Intellicode. Some of them don't have them, or they have it as optional. So this C++ has it as an optional. Python doesn't have it at all. Node has it. Unity doesn't have it. So anyway, if you don't have it and you want to use it, then just download the extension. The benefit from it is that I'm going to look at Intellicode. Here it was. Go to the bottom, and here it is. Now I have enabled this. I will set it to default, so it has all these preview features, and by default they are disabled. And I will make a new variable, and now that I'm trying to use it, and in here I press ctrl space, it will show me all these arguments that I can use, but it doesn't really give any tips like what should I use. So I will go to again to this options menu and set it enabled. So it's C# argument completion. Now it's enabled, and now that I'm writing this and using ctrl space, it will give me all these tips, like maybe you want to use an eye. Notice this little star icon here. Should I make it a little bit bigger? So ctrl space, and it will show me all the variables I I should probably use or could use. Also, it gives me these tips on methods as well, like maybe you want to use WriteLine because that's a very common one based on your code and based on other people's code as well. It's for Visual Studio 2017 as well, if you have a version 15.8 or newer. Next tip is about CodeMaid. So I have this extension called CodeMaid, and previously it has been quite useful, but nowadays it's not as useful because we have this another code cleaning method called code cleanup. So both of them work in a quite similar way. They will remove unnecessary using statements, or if you have unused variables, they will remove that as well. So with CodeMaid, you can clean up active documents, which remove the unnecessary items, but they didn't remove this because it's not in the settings at the moment. And you can do that with this menu as well. I have two profiles, and both of them can have like different setup. So I can have one with just a minor fixes, and then one with very strict fixes. At the moment I have set it up so it will sort the usings, remove unnecessary usings, and remove unused variable. So if I use this one and clean this code, you see it removed the I variable because it was unused, it was unnecessary. One thing this CodeMaid extension can do better is cleaning up the whole solution, and I can make it in a way that it will clean up on save. But it's going more and more useless because all those features are built in, which is great. But CodeMaid has been very cool extension in the past. So the next one is a spell checker. I don't know if you need to see them in here, but I just want to show them in case you need to see the actual version and just want to make sure that it's the right one. So it's this one. It's for 2017 and later versions. So if I start to write a comment here, it will help me to fix it. I can try to improve my grammar. This is quite useful, at least for me. I make a lot of grammar mistakes, so this is nice. Although it's not that intelligent, like it can't really tell you anything else than are these even words. So it will look up comments and documentation and even strings. If I write cat with a double C, then it will let me know. So that's pretty cool. The last extension is a C# method code snippet. And this is part of a whole nother topic. It's a part of the tools category. We have these things called snippets. So I will talk about this tools category and snippets, and then we will come later to this method code snippets. So we have these code snippets that you have seen already. When I write CW, I can write console.WriteLine. If I write ctor, and press double tap, it will build me this interface constructor for this interface, which actually I don't want to be I don't want to make it an interface at this point, so it can be just that. And let's make it a class. So, and if I write prop, it will make me some properties. If I write prop full, it will write me properties with a full list of those variables. Of course, these are in the wrong place, and so are these. So these code snippets are kind of cool. What happened to my my constructor is over there. So these code snippets are kind of cool, but one thing you couldn't do with them is write methods. So here comes the method code snippets. With this, you can write a single method with no parameters, or if you want more parameters, you can have up to 3, and you just fill it up. This is kind of cool. Yeah. So the next tool I want to mention is task list. Task list will let you know anything you want to let you know. So I will make myself a comment. Comment for me. And of course I can find these things with finding wherever there's a to do, but since we have this keyword to do here, we can also go to view and task list, and I'm not really sure why it's showing me all of them. Okay, now I was able to fix it. So now the to-do comment is visible for me, which is nice in the task list, and I can also add another comment for me. And I can see it in here. Yeah, I can add myself bookmarks as well. I can go to any line and then just simply place myself a bookmark, and I can rename them. So this will be example 1, and in the another method this will be example 2. So maybe name them better, but you get the idea. You can travel through this or remove them from here as well. So the next feature I want to talk about is the live share. I have a whole nother video about it, so I will just let you know it's this pair programming or demonstration tool that you can use with other people. You can share your project even if the other person is not connected to it. You just start a session, and then you can send them a link, and then they can view your code. You can make it read only, so they cannot modify it, but you can allow modification. And last time I checked, the default amount of people was 5, but you can set it up to 30 people. Quite useful feature. Look that up. Now, we talked a little bit about how to clean code, but I didn't mention one feature. This is a pretty basic one, so you most likely know it. If your code is all messed up in this way, then just go to Edit, Advanced, and Format, document and it will fix it right up. Now, I want to talk about some useful navigations. If you press Ctrl and Tab, it will let you navigate through these active files, which are the same ones that are up here. If you press Ctrl-Shift-Tab, you will go through them in a reversed order. You probably noticed that there were also active tools window right next to the active files. You can go through these by pressing Alt and F7. Alt and F7, and then if you want to do it in reverse order, then just press Alt, Shift, and F7. So it's the same command with Shift to do it in reverse. If you press Alt and move with your mouse, you can move one line up or down. If you press Alt and Shift, you can write multiple lines. You can write two multiple lines or change multiple lines at the same time. And one last tip is copying and pasting multiple items at once. So I can copy this with Ctrl-C, right? And then just this word private. And I also kind of want to copy this whole section in here. So now I have copied 3 items, and I will go to my method and I press Ctrl-V would paste it, all of it, the last item. But I want to press Ctrl-Shift and V, which will let me pick all of those things that are in my memory. So apparently at some point I have copied this, which is not that useful. So I will just look other things. I have copied this, and I have copied this. Quite useful and nice. Okay. You get the idea. You can place all of those items in here. I'm not sure how long they will stay here. Anyway. Now let's go to the solution. I want to tell you how you can load only one project to the solution, even if you have multiple applications in there. So I want to add a new project, and the next one could be like a web application. This really doesn't matter, so I will just quickly create one. Now I have one console application and one web application, right? And the next time I open this, I want to open just the web application. I will just unload it, and then I will go to the solution, and then I will save a solution filter. And it will be web only, and it will save a file that has ending of SLNF. And I can go to that folder and open this file in here, which will only open the web application. So if you have a solution that contains a lot of projects and it takes a lot of time to load, then this could be really useful for you. Next, I will have a lot of tips about running and debugging, mostly debugging. You can set up a temporary breakpoint. I will go in here, and then instead of the usual F5, I will press Ctrl and then, which means that it will debug to that part of the code. Nice. I can also go to any part of the code and then press this run to cursor. When you are in debug mode, you can place data types for variables. So you can look up any variable and then you can see the values here, of course, and in the right corner there is this kind of syringe looking item. Just press it and then it will make me this data type. Even if I end the debugging, I can see the data type value in here. So it will show me the last known value of that variable. I will go to this class in here and I will demonstrate you that you don't always have to set breakpoints that will set a breakpoint. So you can set up actions. Actions are breakpoints that doesn't really set up a breakpoint. It just shows the value in the debug window, and I want to set up a breakpoint when I is more than 20. And now close it, and yeah. Let's begin the debugging and look at the output window of debug. So here we see value of I is 21 and so on. I didn't need to go through it every time, might be quite useful. So in this immediate window next to the output window, it lets you define comments there as well. You can pretty easily check specific values by using variables that are available at the moment. Like now, I is available, so I can write that. I can write any kind of things that I would normally be able to use in the code. Even the Intellicode is giving us tips in here. What could we use? So that's pretty useful. In the breakpoint window, you can easily disable all breakpoints, or you can enable them back, or you can remove all of them. So it's pretty easy to control them from here. But something you can do here as well is set up new breakpoints, and you can set them in a way that you just define the method. I just set a breakpoint to onGet, and you can see here that it did find 3 methods that had the name onGet, so it added all of them. Next tip is about call stack. You might want to start to learn to read call stack. It will let you know where you are and where you came from. In here, it doesn't show me anything other than the onGet method, but if I go to startup and place a couple of breakpoints in here, and then I will just start the debugging again, we can see that when we came in here, it will let us know that we came from the main method over here. So reading the call stack is quite useful. When you are using a lot of the debugger, you might want to learn the shortcuts. So F10 is the one where you step over a function, and F11 is the one where you step into the function, like I did now in the configure method. If you want to step out of the function, just press Shift and F11. So it will step out unless there are methods inside. So The next tip is about importing and exporting breakpoints from XML file. I have placed quite a few breakpoints here, and now I want to send them to my team or something. I will export them. It will create this XML file, which is now called just TT, and then I can delete all of these and bring up the XML file in here. So basically you could just send your breakpoints to your whole team if you wanted to, and the whole team could use them. I don't know how useful that could be, but you can do it. One last tip is, if you ever forgot like a command, you can go to this search window in here and write whatever you were looking for, like what was the stop debugging. Of course you can find that actually in here, but all of these other commands are here as well, and you can search the code as well, like get methods or something like that. So actually today I downloaded something quite neat. I downloaded this solution runner, and it will let me find all solutions in a specific folder. I have set it up in a way that the search mode it contains, because actually if you don't have any favorites and you don't write anything, then you may not find your solutions. There is no regex or something going on. You would think once you have found your favorites, then just pin them and you will find them whenever you go into this. I have a older version of Visual Studio as well, so it will let me find that. If I pick this and then I open up one of these solutions, it will open it in that version. So that's pretty cool. So those were all my tips for community version of Visual Studio 2019. I hope it was useful. Let me know in the comments how many did you know, and if you have any new ideas, then please share them in the comments. I hope you have a very, very, very nice day.